Hi everyone, Tony from Hack the Movies here. It's RoboCop time. We're going to talk about RoboCop. I don't have like a witty thing to say in the beginning. I just really love RoboCop. Let's talk about RoboCop.
Yeah, let's do it, Tony. Let's talk about RoboCop.
We're talking about tapes.
Hello, Tom.
Hello, Tony.
How are you? How have you been, Tom?
I've been doing pretty well. I've seen some shitty movies, and I'm glad we could turn it around this time, and I could watch something that's not as shitty.
Speaking of revenge, a while back on Patreon, we did a movie with Michael Jai White.
Yeah.
I watched a different Michael Jai White piece of shit. I might force you to watch it, you son of a bitch.
Oh, good. I'm glad. That's perfect. I'm excited. I look forward to it. I hope the pacing is just as slow, and the acting is just as pitiful.
RoboCop. Who is he? What is he? Where does he come from?
RoboCop's getting a lot of attention lately. There was the 4-part RoboCop documentary about the original film.
Mm-hmm.
And those guys who made it were on my show. We did a live episode on how to make film documentaries because they've done that one. They've done one for It, the original It, and they did one just on like the life of Robert Englund. So I had those guys on a live episode.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
I'm so jealous, not going to lie.
Yeah, and if you guys have not seen the 4-part, like we're going to skip over some of the behind the scenes in this just because they covered it so well.
Yeah.
But while doing that episode, I was like, man, it actually hasn't been that long since I watched RoboCop because when we moved the store, you helped actually rebuild the store with me.
Yes.
And the one night we sat there and we watched RoboCop in 4K.
We did. I was actually a little bit excited.
Yeah.
I was just like, ooh, I can see things that you can't normally see when it's not in 4K.
So yeah, and then after that episode, I'm like, I should watch RoboCop again. I'm like, you know what? I should review RoboCop. And again, depending when this comes out, the RoboCop game has either just come out or it's been out for many months.
It's great. I've been playing it all the time.
Look.
I look forward to it coming out.
Honestly, at the time of this recording, like the early reviews and people I know who have played like the demos say like it's amazing.
Yeah, all right.
I'm actually
I'm on
excited.
board for shooting people in the dick.
I'm excited for movie games again because I liked Friday the 13th. I enjoyed the Evil Dead game. I enjoyed the Texas Chainsaw game, but I can't do those online multiplayers anymore.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I enjoy them. It's just you play them, too many people play too much and they're too good at it.
Yeah.
It takes forever to level up, especially when you're busy. So I like that this new RoboCop is like a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
It's just you. Maybe there's an online element. I don't know, but it seems like it's a first-person shooter.
They all have an online element.
But yeah, like, because I thought movie games were coming back, and it's like, oh, are they all going to be multiplayer, online-only stuff? It's like, because they kind of die. And then if they don't do well, they kind of kill. They're like, Evil Dead were basically like, yeah, we're not updating the game anymore. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
Awesome.
No. I mean, what do you think they're going to do? Like a giant, like massive, like MMO for Back to the Future or something now? And it's just like Marty's going around on his hoverboard.
You know what? I never played the Telltale game for Back to the Future. I heard it wasn't very good.
Oh, it was interesting to view with my eyes.
I played the Jurassic Park one. I didn't play the Back to the Future one. I heard
I watched someone play it, and they weren't very good at playing it, so that probably made it even worse. So like some of the cutscenes and really it's just the character art is slightly disturbing.
Yeah, it did look a little bizarre. But yes, RoboCop. Who is he? What is he? Where did he come from? I know these quotes. Tom.
Yeah.
When was the first time you saw RoboCop?
So the first time I watched it, it was actually the second half.
Okay.
And out of context on television when I was probably like 12 or 13 and I had no idea what was going on. Yeah. But
you were
I
just
did
like
know
a robot cop is shooting people.
There's a robot cop shooting people in a giant like valley. There's a bunch of steel stuff all around and Red Foreman is there. Because that 70s show was out.
Yeah.
And that's the only I'm like, what is Red doing in
Detroit?
Okay, that's weird.
Fighting a robot? What is this?
I guess he's the bad guy. And the other guy's yelling like Clarence. And it's just like that was my first. It was very out of context, no idea.
And then I guess you watched it years later.
Yes.
Okay.
Made a lot more sense.
It's one of those,
because the other scene that I would always see is the scene where he goes to his home.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. That was just that scene and the ending were the scenes I would always see on TV. So
You're
like
wow,
to put them all together.
You're like, this robot's really sad, and also he's shooting a bunch of people. I mean, that
he
is
really
the gist of the
hates
movie.
that guy, and he's also misses his family. They're gone. That's all I knew about RoboCop. But yeah, no, it's definitely better when you watch it all the way through.
Well, this is one of those movies, much like Predator. I don't remember the first time I've seen it because I've been watching it most of my life.
Okay.
Again, put this with Predator, The Omen, Conan the Barbarian, just movies I should not have watched at such a young age.
Yeah.
But my parents didn't give a shit, and they would just leave me alone, and I learned how to use a VCR, and this is one of the ones I would put on all the time. I love this movie.
Wow. I was just like playing back that scene in Titanic over and over again. We all know the scene.
Yeah. If you look at most VHS copies, that scene's worn out.
So strange. Anyway,
yeah,
I didn't just admit that.
We brought that up in the Titanic episode. In Florida, I met the guy who has more Titanic VHSs than anyone else.
That sounds like quite a man.
He has a whole social media just dedicated to him collecting every copy of Titanic on VHS that he can get.
You gotta have somebody like that, you know?
Yeah.
You need one person like that. Like,
He knows who I am. That was the funny thing. When I met him at the convention, he like knew who he like watches the show. And I'm like, oh shit.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, RoboCop, one of my favorite films.
Mm-hmm.
Had a really big impact on me. One that I didn't realize till like years later. This is probably where I got like my love of satire. And like before I could really understand what was going on, and the news segments, which I kind of did in Mummy Cop
commercials.
That Mummy Cop wouldn't exist without a lot of RoboCop. Yeah, it's just a very like important film to me, and I'm just like, wow, this so much of like my comedy and everything, like everything I wrote
just
comedically,
your sense of humor,
like the tongue-in-cheek stuff, like it doesn't play off as a comedy, and yet it's very, very funny.
Well, it's those bits that just make it, and like the gore, like that's what. Since I'm not huge into horror, but I do like a good amount of gore.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I'm a big fan of the Evil Dead series in that regard. So
yeah.
When I saw this go, like the scene with the top with the executive with the
and you're
Ed 209.
These days kids can just get the director's cut and see that. So I remember like in high school when they released like the director's cut, I was like, whoa! I'm like, this is so much more awesome.
That's what I mean. I'd love to see that scene.
Yeah.
A little bit longer.
I think a lot of those scenes went even longer, and like, okay, it can't be like a minute long. Like, we got to trim some of this down.
Well, that's what made it even funnier, like in that context, which goes well with the movie because it's just hyper violent, hyper everything in that sense because it's the future, dystopian, and all that.
One of the things I like about the making of this movie, briefly, because again, there's a 4-hour documentary. The writers behind this, I think the one was like on the set of Blade Runner. And he's like, oh, this is a movie about robots. What do the robots look like? And then just was like a normal person. He was disappointed that the robots look like normal people. And I'm like, well, no, it made sense for that movie, but okay. Yeah. So he's like, I'm going to write my own robot movie.
Except they're going to be called cyborgs.
Yeah, they came up with RoboCop, these two writers. If I remember right, I don't think that was always meant to be I think it was one of those like, we'll change the title later, and it just never did.
Oh, no.
The script was given to the director, Paul Verhoeven. And he apparently looked at it and was like, this is stupid. I'm not doing this. And then he went to go swim in the ocean. Apparently his wife actually started reading the script.
Really?
And when he came back, she was the one who was like, you should probably read this. It's actually really good.
Really?
Yeah.
That's kind of crazy. I didn't know that.
So that's what got him to sign on. And also, it did take inspiration from the 2000 AD comics like Judge Dredd.
Okay.
And actually early design, you can look up early designs of RoboCop's armor, and he has the Judge Dredd, pretty much the Judge Dredd helmet. And it's like, okay, let's not get sued.
Yeah.
So yeah, this idea just came out about this cop who's turned into a robot. Actually, you know what? To briefly sum up the story, let me read the box here.
Yeah.
And then we'll go through the movie.
Why not?
Part man, part machine. all cop.
Mm.
That's such a good tagline. By the way, great poster.
Yeah, no, seriously, that tells you everything you really need to know, and I'm glad they have it with him out of the car, because if he was in the car, he would look really.
Well, if
really
he's in the
lame.
car, they would have to take the legs off because he couldn't fit in that's like a funny thing.
That's true.
Whenever
it was like a C-3PO kind of.
Yeah,
bullshit.
whenever RoboCop is in the car, they had to take his legs off because he couldn't fit in the car with the legs. All right, he's RoboCop, and in the near future, he's law enforcement's only hope. A sadistic crime wave is sweeping across America. In old Detroit, the situation is so bad, a private corporation, Security Concepts Inc. Private corporation, Security Concepts Incorporated, has assumed control of the police force. The executives at the company think they have the answer until the enforcement droid they create kills one of their own. Then the ambitious young executive seizes the opportunity. He and his research team create a law enforcement cyborg from the body of a slain officer. They program RoboCop to 1, serve the public trust, 2, uphold the law, 3, protect the innocent. All goes well at first. RoboCop stops every sleazeball he encounters with deadly, piercing, and sometimes gruesome accuracy. But there are forces on the street and within Security Concepts itself that will stop at nothing to see this super cyborg violently eliminated. Prepare yourself for non-stop action and adventure in one of the most explosive sci-fi stories you'll ever witness. RoboCop. That sounds like an awesome fucking movie.
That does actually sound really intense. Intensely awesome.
Yeah.
And like the firepower. Lots of guns. lots of guns all over. I like that.
Guns.
And we should say for the effects, Rob Bottin, famous makeup effects guy, he like made the RoboCop suit.
Just nuts, and like some of the makeup.
They were talking about like the paint would kind of come off the suit, so they had to constantly like adjust the paint on the suit like every day. And then like a bunch of people worked on the Ed 209 puppet. Phil Tippett, who would end up going on to Jurassic Park and making his own company, he did like a lot of the stop motion stuff in this, or maybe it was Go Motion at this point. But yeah, let's jump into this movie here.
All right.
I love the opening news segments that give us like a picture of the wider world. Because we're only ever in old Detroit.
Yeah.
We never see anything else. I think, well, other than RoboCop's old neighborhood,
and
which is like outside of old
yeah,
Detroit.
we see some views from space occasionally.
Yeah, well, like the news is the only time we ever see what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
There's military coups. The president is stuck in space because the anti-gravity was turned off. And corporations are just selling hearts.
Yes.
Yeah, and then we find out OCB has bought the police force, and some cops were killed by a gang leader, but one might survive. Again, like the whole like satirical stuff, like they're talking about horrifying things, and they're kind of like smiling through it.
Yeah. Well, that's why it's just it hits different in a good kind of way.
It's
it
kind of
makes me feel like wait,
it's kind of
why
making
are they
fun of
serious?
like how like America was getting like in the 80s, like big business was getting like like the corporate overlords were taking over. Like I said, like, oh, we're gonna help you with the heart. You could buy one from Yamaha and whatnot. I was like, oh my god, like you're treating this as like a retail thing.
Yeah, well, that's what the later commercials with the SUX 6000.
Yes.
That's very obvious because at that point America was having a lot of trouble making anything that worked really well in the automotive industry, at least.
Yeah, which is funny because this takes place in Detroit, which was like the home of that. Yeah, so it's just like it's painting a picture of this like horrifying world, and the corporations are kind of taking over everything, and they're just obsessed with money. A lot of social commentary in this.
Nothing that has like it didn't translate. Honestly, like all those that doesn't happen now at all.
This movie did predict some things.
Some things?
Yeah. But yeah, we'll circle back to the whole social commentary thing because I want to bring up something.
Yeah.
I do like that the lawyers at the police station, they're like, attempted murder? It's not like he killed anyone. They like really show in this world like there are so many just like soulless, money hungry people.
Human life is really
it
not
means
valuable.
nothing in this, right? And it's just like, and then like you just have the citizens and whatnot, and they're like just trying to survive how violent and crime ridden everything is. Then when they get a new transfer, Murphy,
yes,
played by Peter Weller.
Now, is that before or after the co-ed changing scene?
Before.
Okay.
Before. Murphy transfers in. He mentions how OCP is moving everyone around.
Yeah.
And then they bring it up in a later scene that like that was done on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
But he's from like a nicer district, and now he's here, and it's like a little rougher.
Yeah.
Apparently, a lot of the cops, their last names are from like famous serial killers.
Really? I did not know that at all.
Forgot to write them down. I found that out in the documentary RoboDoc. I never realized it before. So yeah, he's transferring in there. He goes into the co-ed.
Very reminiscent of Starship Troopers.
Well, Starship Troopers is reminiscent of this because he did it later on. Same director.
Oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
Really?
Paul Verhoeven, yes.
Oh,
that's why Starship Troopers also has the news segments and whatnot.
Oh my god, that's why I probably like Star. Because I saw Starship Troopers before I saw.
Yeah,
Rogue.
yeah.
I was
talking with
almost
someone.
Sad because when I saw the wrong one first, so I thought that one was the reference. No, okay.
I rewatched one of the early Saw movies with Dinah Meyer in it.
Okay.
And I remember telling the person I was watching with, I'm like, that's the first woman I ever saw naked in a movie theater because my grandfather took me to Starship Troopers. And whenever I see her in anything, I'm like, I'll never forget. I'll be like, oh my God, those are the biggest boobs I've ever seen because they're being projected on a giant screen.
Wait, so is that how you were introduced to NPH? Neil Patrick Harris? Sorry, I just think that's a funny way to be
I'd have to go through
him.
his IMDb to see if I knew him from anything before that.
Well, I doubt you were watching Doogie Howser, so.
I was not. Off the top of my head, you know what? That was my introduction to Neil Patrick Harris.
Anyway.
Then we meet Ann Lewis, who is Murphy's partner, and she's a girl boss.
I actually like her character a lot. Like the way what they did with her.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I liked because she wasn't sexualized.
Yeah.
And like when you watch an action movie in that time period.
I mean, she shouldn't be. He has a wife and everything. I'm glad there's not like a romance in this.
I think it's refreshing. You know what I mean?
It's funny because I'm watching this, and this is a movie I'm sure most people will like.
Because I already saw the boobs in the co-eds. The point is, like, I saw the scene that needed to happen for it to be an 80s action film.
Yeah.
Already happened. Like, I don't need to see this.
It is funny.
You know what I mean?
It is funny. The only nudity in this is just like brief.
Yeah.
And it's sandwiched.
They got it out of the way.
And it's sandwiched between naked dudes.
Yeah.
We forgot to mention that one cop died, and then they mentioned doing a strike, and Sergeant Reed is like, "You sons of bitches are not striking." But yeah, we meet Ann Lewis, and it was kind of cracking me up because I'm like, if this movie was made now, all the social commentary and then a tough female girl, everyone would be complaining about it online. It would be a million things. I'm like,
yeah, no, it wouldn't.
It's one of those like I think there's been so many.
Now that I think about it, you're right. It would cause a problem.
I think the problem is there's been so many like bad examples of people shoehorning messages in, and so people like, and I call them out a lot, like a lot of those YouTubers, not by name because I don't feel like dealing with them. But like they think like any kind of social commentary or any strong female lead is now bad. It's like, no, those both can be good. People are going to do it well and people are going to not do it well. But like there's this whole generation of YouTubers that are training people to hate social commentary and strong female leads. Like, no, it can be good sometimes. This is an example where it works extremely well. It's like, we don't have to ban it altogether, guys.
Yeah.
Like, relax.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong. We're doing this before the Marvels comes out. That doesn't look like a good example. That's probably going to be a bad one.
Well, the reason that, like, I could get into that for a while, but like the Marvels isn't going to be great because the last like 4 Marvel movies have not been great.
Besides like Guardians.
Guardians is its own entity. Thank goodness I have another good trilogy.
Yeah.
Anyway, but
aside
from that, they're just showing us what the Marvels is going to be. And if it's going to be like Ant-Man, if it's going to be like Thor, if it's going to be like Eternals, then we're not going to enjoy it.
But what I'm saying is you can put a social commentary. It can't be your only reason for making the movie. Like, this is like a fun, like the social commentary is fun in this.
Yes.
But it also plays into the story. Like, hey, we want to make fun of greedy corporations and let's show that through this science fiction story.
Very, very dark humor.
Yes.
I love it.
Some of the best stories pull from real life and have you explain and whatnot. And like I said, Lewis is good in this. There's a lot of times where they're like, how does that girl know how to fight and everything? Well, you know what? She's a cop in a hard city. We can kind of gather that she's trained to do this.
She's been working there and she's alive. Yeah. She must have been doing something right.
And you know what? To this film's credit, and like a lot of newer movies, she doesn't do anything like ridiculous.
No. she's pretty.
There are a lot of movies
standard
now with like strong
character.
female leads, like they're all doing like the
and
backflip thing. I'm like,
yeah,
okay,
they have their own specific fight scene. I mean, this chick gets pretty fucked up.
she like kicks ass. She gets fucked up. She kicks ass. Yeah,
as a normal person.
Yeah. It's very believable. It's very believable.
Yeah.
And I also
Jane every lady.
And
right?
I also really liked her character, and it's one of the reasons I hate part 3. Anyway, OCP has a meeting. Bob Morton is eager to talk to the old man.
The old man.
I love Miguel Ferreira. I just love him.
Is he the other guy in that good Godzilla movie?
No, he's not.
He's not with the fat guy and
no.
The skinny guy's not him. Okay.
No, you're confusing it for someone else.
I am.
Are you confusing it for Hank Azaria?
No. This the duo of the movie people they were supposed to be.
Oh no, I don't.
Isn't
think that's
the
him.
skinny guy?
No.
The same guy.
Wait, the Mayor Ebert and Gene who were making fun of Siskel and Ebert.
Yes,
No.
those
I
two.
think that's a different guy.
Okay.
I do love Miguel Ferreira. He's using a shit ton of stuff. I loved him in Twin Peaks. Speaking of which,
I just called him Twin Peaks. Like that's all he is.
Well, speaking of which, Bob Morton, Miguel Ferreira was in Twin Peaks. The old man was also in Twin Peaks.
Jeez.
And later on, Clarence's gang, Nash, is Leland Palmer from Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Let me know if I missed anyone. I feel like there might be one or two other people in this that are from
probably-
Twin Peaks.
They snuck one in there, I'm sure.
Let me know if I missed one. So Bob Morton, he really wants to pitch his idea to the old man, but Dick Jones is the superior one that they listen to. And we find out about Delta City.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the idea is they're going to basically rebuild old Detroit as Delta City, a city they will actually own, which is horrifying.
Yeah, only a little bit.
I mean, could you imagine like a company just buying up all the land and doing whatever they want with it? Delta City is like it's like this cool thing that's in the background. Like, you see it throughout the film, like the billboards and whatnot.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's been a while since I've seen 2 and 3. I don't know if they ever get to Delta City. I don't know if they ever get to building it. But they were like, you know what? Detroit just has too much crime. We want to rebuild this new city and ship in all these new workers and whatnot.
Yeah, just like wipe out all the ones that are there.
Gentrification. Like, we want to gentrify this and kick out everyone and rebuild.
Yeah.
But there's just too many criminals we can't get rid of. So Dick Jones introduced everyone to Ed 209, or how he sometimes says ED 209.
Yeah, erectile dysfunction 209. I'm sorry. I know it's childish, but
and this is cool because they built a full-size one, and I think all that one could do was this, like, just lean back and forth. But the effects, I believe it was
good.
Go Motion, which Phil Tippett developed, which is stop motion with a motion blur to kind of cover up the jerkiness.
yeah, it's still as long as there's not a person in frame. Honestly, I really enjoy the effects as long as there's not another.
It
person.
really worked for this because it is a robot.
Yeah.
So I actually don't mind the jerkiness too much.
Mm-hmm.
It actually in the jerkiness actually adds to this thing.
Yeah.
But this is probably the best stop motion thing I've ever seen. Like when it comes
to stop motion, I mean,
yeah, I'm like, this
it's
is
up there.
This is pretty good. I love stop motion.
Yeah.
But it's very noticeable.
Oh,
I mean, famously, The Thing is like one of the best effects movies in the world, and that stop motion tentacle at the end is really bad. And thank God they trimmed down that ending.
Yeah,
because at one point that dog comes out of the big thing and it's all stop motion. It's like, oh god, this is awful. Get rid of this.
Yeah,
we talked about it over the summer. Like, I love Nightmare on Elm Street 3, but that stop motion skeleton at the end is really bad. Jeez. But this is after he just got it's after he did like the Star Wars trilogy and whatnot. Like, it blends together with the scenery. Yeah. There's no hard line. Mm-hmm. It's not invisible.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it's on like
it doesn't. That's a good thing. It's
like wall or a screen.
Yeah, we talk about this like when they do these composites. Sometimes it's lit differently and it stands out, but like no, this feels like it's in the scene.
Yeah,
it is like phenomenal. And Ed 209 used to scare the shit out of me every time he talked.
I mean, because it's a lion. It's a lion.
It roars like a lion.
It literally roars like a lion.
But yeah, the whole
snorts like a pig.
His voice. Yeah.
15 seconds to comply.
His voice used to scare me. His head always looked like a microphone. Like it looks like a microphone.
It does. I agree.
So yeah, they go to show it off. Poor Kenny. Poor Kenny is there to demonstrate it.
I am all about this moment. It's like I think this was like one of my favorite
There's
moments.
a malfunction and Kenny just gets obliterated. Obliterated.
He's hiding behind me.
Yeah, I love he goes to hide behind me.
Throwing
No,
people
get away.
Guys, come on, please, somebody help me. Everyone's just like, oh, no, thank you.
And then he gets murdered.
So good.
He gets completely demolished.
It's great.
And in
because
the dirt,
the gun has the triple
Yeah.
spray, so it's just like, oh well, if there's the normal amount of violence,
By the way,
just triple it.
way too armed for this. It's like, okay.
Shoot him
In
in
real
the
life,
kneecaps.
EZ2 and I would end up like killing nearby people. Like it's
He's
just-
shooting him in the kneecaps and the shins.
Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Oh, well, that was the thing.
What?
So in the
Why?
director's
He's
cut,
dead.
this,
Why are you still shooting?
this part wasn't in the theatrical cut. The director's cut, when he falls on the table and then it keeps going, that's unique to the director's cut.
Really?
In the theatrical cut, they like shoot him and then he falls on the table.
Yeah.
And when I
think that's
first
what
saw the
I
director's
think
cut,
that's what
I
I saw.
died laughing when he fell on the table, and then it just kept
it just-
going.
I mean, I caught myself laughing, like the I don't know why, but getting shot in the shins when like he's dead.
Yeah.
Why even like that's? You could keep shooting him in the. Why the shit?
I love the technician who like yanks out the cord. I love when he's just like, it
That's
didn't
very-
hear him.
That felt very Spider-Man too. I'm
Yeah.
just saying, he's trying to pull the thing out, just like all of his strength. There's just two little computer chips and a little bit of wire. Just I can't do it.
I love it. Again, to the commentary on like corporations being soulless. When like the old man's just like, I'm disappointed, and then he's like, I'm sure it's just a glitch. Like a man was just destroyed with bullets in front of
There's
you.
blood all over
Yeah, and
your
they're like, oh,
employees.
this is
There's a
gonna
woman
set us back.
crying in
Yeah.
the background, literally grieving
Yeah.
over the loss.
And they're like, oh, this is gonna set us back. And I felt bad because like Bob and the black guy's name I always forget. He's in like all three RoboCop movies.
Oh, I like his
Yeah.
smile. He's just got that.
Yeah, he's got like a real
Yeah.
fun smile.
It's like, why?
I always enjoyed that guy. They were in the elevator with Kenny earlier, and then Bob Morton goes to pitch RoboCop to the old man. He's like, all right, let me hear your proposal. But he lets out here, he's just like, you know, we've already started moving around the precincts based off potential candidates. So he's kind of the reason Murphy got sent there, because they were probably like, he's a really good cop. Let's put him in a dangerous district so if he dies, we get his body. It took me years.
Because they know that he's gonna go and be a good cop.
Yeah.
In a bad situation.
Yeah. Best case scenario, he just keeps being a good cop in a bad town. Worst case scenario,
Exactly.
they're like, well, we have his body. Let's make him RoboCop. Actually didn't catch on to that till like years later. I'm like, oh, I didn't realize like Bob is kind of like the guy who indirectly, I mean, well, not Murphy specifically, but he set up all that. But I love when they get on the elevator and he's all like, that's what you got to do. You got to take charge. He's like, hey, Kenny died.
Yeah.
It's like, it sucks
Yeah.
for him. He
Like,
literally goes,
moments earlier.
he's just like, it's life in the big city. Like, oh my God.
You got to take your chance. It's like,
yeah.
there's a dead man behind you.
Who
One's even cleaned up.
who you were friends with and were just talking with and having a good time with.
And he damaged that model. That model
Yeah.
probably took some time to make.
I know. By the way, the match shots in this are great. That elevator like going up and the OCP, I love that match shot. And then
Yeah.
the outside of the OCP building is like a big, beautiful like match shot.
Yeah.
Beautiful
Those are
match shots
nice.
in this. And they still hold up in 4K.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those things where like sometimes you watch older movies in 4K and it just really highlights the effects. This is the one where like the effects look better.
Yeah, no, I watched Jaws recently in 4K, and
Yeah, the animatronics
there's
not
some
the best.
things that should have stayed hidden.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Like, what is it? Blade Runner. When they did that like final cut, they like digitally enhanced Blade Runner. They did like a George Lucas where they made changes and stuff.
Yeah.
And I keep talking about how I'm like, but it didn't impact the story, so no one ever really no one ever complains or
Well, did
notices.
the Lucas changes affect the story? No, they were just
No, they
stupid
did.
and
They did
distracting.
making Han Solo shoot second, stuff like that. Luke's screaming when he gets thrown off. Yeah. Anyway, but no, this movie, it seems like they didn't digitally enhance any of it. It just seems like these are really good effects that have held up.
It's just really clean.
Yeah. And a lot of the original Blade Runner effects also hold up, but I did see that they digitally enhance things here and there.
Yeah.
So Murphy is doing this thing with his gun, which, by the way, I used to have like a airsoft gun of the RoboCop gun.
Nice.
It broke. I wish I still had it. I should just get another one. He's doing the thing where he's twirling his gun. And he mentioned, this is important. This is an important character thing.
Yes, it is.
Because he's mentioning it to Lewis. Like, hey, my son really likes this guy. Kids need role models. I'm doing this. And you bet your ass, kid Tony, anytime he had a toy gun, would try to do the... Could never get it right.
No. Well, I don't understand how they don't pull the trigger doing that, but I've also never tried to do it in real life.
Yeah, I was going to say maybe the safety's on, but I'm like, yeah, but also, like...
But, like, come on,
like,
you're still...
Because then you'd be like, bang, bang, bang. Click.
I'm going to get you.
But yeah, they get a call about a bank robbery, and then we meet Clarence Boddicker.
Clarence,
I think they're called the Wrecking Crew. I think
they are the Wrecking. Yes, that's it. The Wrecking Crew is pretty badass.
The Wrecking Crew.
And Red Foreman is the leader.
Red Foreman is the leader. Leland Palmer is there. The ginger receding hairline doctor from ER is there.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, I think, a Native American or Mexican guy there.
Yes, he is also there with little to no dialogue.
And also Bobby. Don't get attached to Bobby because Bobby, first off, they burnt the money from the bank heist, so the money means nothing.
Yeah. I forgot about Bobby until you just mentioned him.
I will never forget Bobby because they they open fire on the cops. I like Murphy outside the car with 2 guns. That was pretty funny. But yeah, they hit Bobby in the leg, and of course, this is like me and my friend Anthony. It's like one of our favorite line from this movie where he just goes,
"Can you fly, Bobby?"
Clarence, no! Hit it!
It's such a good line, and they fucking throw Bobby onto the police car.
I mean, you don't expect it, and it helps show how evil Red Foreman is. You know, Clarence. Sorry, it just goes to what I mean.
He is ruthless
without telling you. You know what I mean? Because the audience isn't always that stupid.
Speaking of Red Foreman. Did you give 90 Show a chance? I didn't bother.
I tried 1 episode.
Couldn't do it?
Nope, I'm good. It was just not interesting. I don't know if it was like the live audience thing, or it's just like people enter and everyone claps, and it's just like, no.
I mean, that's the old show.
I'm sitting at home. Stop clapping. Get to the jokes.
I mean, that's in the old show.
Not like this. This was one of those like...
Sorry, you're right. There is a gnat in the store, and it's driving me crazy now because he's just hovering. We're doing this the day after Halloween, and my door, I was going in and out all yesterday, and I let flies in like an idiot.
Yeah, I bought the big candy bars because I wanted to be that guy. Because, like, when you were a kid, you wanted the big candy bar house. Because, like, oh my God, I got a big candy bar. That guy's the coolest. I wanted to be that guy just once.
Nah, I was a weird kid. I didn't really care about candy as a kid. I just wanted to dress up and show off my costume.
I mean, I wanted to dress up too, but with the intent of collecting.
That was like the more important thing to me. Like, I remember after like a few years, like, I didn't even really care about the candy. I kind of just want to scare people. Anyway.
I didn't get to the scary until I got a lot taller.
So it's probably not showing up on camera, but there is a goddamn gnat in the store and it's driving me nuts.
We'll find it.
It's also been raining a lot too. That's fun. They follow the Wrecking Crew to a like a steelworks that's out of commission, which I think is like a play on like the businesses leaving America, because it's like there's a bunch of like out of commission like steelworks and stuff around here. So yeah, I do like that Lewis is the one that makes the call to go in without backup.
Yeah.
Because that shows like why she feels responsible.
Well, backup is 15 minutes away.
Yes. I would.
They mention it often, and it's also very much not 15 minutes away.
Yeah, I would have waited if it was.
Me too.
But he says to her, it's your call if we go in. Because she's, I mean, I guess they're equal, but she's kind of a superior, I guess.
Well, she worked there. He's new.
Yeah, true.
He's new in town.
So she makes the call to go in. Because I was always wondering, I'm like, she's probably used to people getting killed all the time. I'm like, oh, right. Because it was her decision to go in. That got him killed. The people killing him is what got him killed. But yeah, if they had just waited, maybe it would have played out different. But
then we wouldn't have had RoboCop. So like,
because
pretty boring.
I know. But because there isn't like a romance, it's like, oh, okay, that's a good reason for her to still be in the story and really want to help out. She's like, man, I fucked up and this guy got killed, and now I have a chance to kind of help him again. They go in. I love the laughing guy. I forget his name. Escapes me at the moment.
so good. That made me laugh.
Does it hurt?
He laughs like that the whole movie.
He laughs
It's
like that
great.
the whole time. He thinks he kills Lewis. He doesn't. We get our first appearance. He doesn't say the catchphrase, but we get our first appearance of the "I'll buy that for $1" guy.
Yes.
And I think the Blu-ray, because it was in the documentary, but I think it might be on some like Blu-ray releases. There's like extra commercials they shot with him and more scenes they shot with
That's
him.
fun.
So it's this weird sitcom. I forget the guy's name. They say his name at one point. I always call him the "I'll buy that for $1" guy.
Yeah, that's what he's known as. You know?
That they always watch, and like later on throughout the movie, he'll just be like, "I'll buy that for $1." It's like his catchphrase.
Uh-huh.
Murphy takes out one of the guys, but they get the jump on him.
Mm-hmm.
And this scene used to like make me really disturbed as a kid because
Yeah.
it like is a long, drawn out murder of a cop, and I was a kid whose dad was a cop, so it was like. Yeah, it was one of those just like it was like, oh, what did your dad do for a living?
My dad's in IT.
Were you ever worried about one day?
Not coming home.
I mean,
at night?
I guess anyone can get shot at any time, but I guess the chances of it happening to an IT guy are a little bit less.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
So I remember watching this being like, it was like my first like. It was like the first time where like a science fiction sort of movie thing made me think about the real world and its consequences.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, wow, this is really making me think. I'm like, oh, shit. Not like this, but I think, I'm like, this could happen. I was like a young kid and like really. Yeah. And then for some reason, I kept watching the movie and I watched it over and over again. And I would always get disturbed around this part. But I always liked when movies would like, that's why I liked horror, because it would like challenge me. I'm like, I want to watch this even though I'm scared.
I know. Plus, like, worst case scenario, your dad would just turn into a RoboCop.
My dad would be a very Italian RoboCop. It would be great.
That's awesome. He made some good meatballs that one time. I'm not going to lie.
Mamma mia.
Let me show you where to put this spike.
Now, this scene is pretty brutal. I do like Clarence's no. So for the director's cut has the scene of like Murphy's head screaming and the camera going around him.
That's a cool shot. And
I
feel like most wouldn't notice.
I think the animatronic head is a little too noticeable for me.
For like the first like 2 seconds of that, like
the back of the head blowing up is great. I just think the shot of him in the beginning, like, and I'm like, ugh.
So like if they cut it like 2 seconds sooner, do you think you would be like 100% on board?
Yeah, we talked about this with the first Terminator when he's like fixing his eye in the first movie. I'm like, man, if they made these shots just a little bit like trim it.
Some of them are really good shots.
Yeah,
the
but then other
effect.
ones, I'm like, he is clearly not. Like I know he is a robot, but he's supposed to move like a person.
Like, come on. That's what throws you off when you have the shots mixed in with the great shots. But also, I think everything more noticeable.
The director's cut also has his hand like straight up blowing up. I don't think that was in the theatrical cut. His hand just like being shattered.
Like Tropic Thunder, like that kind of hands exploded. Okay.
And then Lewis shows up.
Mm-hmm. A little bit late.
I mean, she was thrown off a freaking balcony. So. Was she thrown over a railing? There's a scene later on where multiple people are being thrown off railings. And then like, as if that wasn't like bad enough that we just saw this guy like horribly shot. Like he's still not dead.
Graphic.
He's still not dead. We now have to watch him go to the ER and die slowly while he's thinking of his wife and kid. I'm like, this is horrifying, and I think it has to be.
Well, yeah. They're trying to make you feel for him. You know what I mean? Like, dude's die
because he's like one of the more human characters, and like a lot of the cops are the more human characters because we're seeing the world around him. It's like criminals. And then like corporate assholes.
Criminals. So it's just like,
and then like
white collar crime versus street crime. You know what I mean?
And like everyone we're seeing is kind of awful except for like the cops. And then there's people we see like
but they're all on strike. Like it's
But then we see like other civilians later on, like the store owner or whatnot. So like he's like the most human character we've connected with so far.
Yeah, he's the only one.
So like we really want to see how human he is because he's about to have it taken away from him, like
really taken away.
Yeah, literally.
Really?
And, you know,
Really
whatever.
taken away.
Symbolically. So yeah, I like the little flashes there. And then I like his rebirth. It's like that POV montage.
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
That is it's very clever, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing that threw me off was when they put the LED light down with like the grid, and then they screwed they screwed the grid in, and it like zoomed in with each screw. Like that threw me off a little. Like it was cool, but kind of really stupid. Like nowadays.
I will say, like, apparently that like all had to be like animated, like traditionally animated, kind of. Now that'd be like
MS DOS or something.
Yeah, now that'd be really easy to do. It'd be really easy. You could look up a tutorial.
Yeah, you could do that without the.
Back then, that would suck. I think we might have talked about it in our John Carpenter episode. You've seen Escape from New York?
What one has the tidal wave?
That's Escape from LA.
Damn it.
And Escape from New York. Escape from New York.
No, I've seen Escape from New York.
When he sees like the 3D grid of New York, it's like that wasn't done in the computer. That was done with glow in the dark paint and a black set. I'm like, oh my! It's funny. Like, oh, we have to make this look like a computer, and like RoboCop animates it. That one uses like paint and stuff. It's like now you would actually do it in the computer.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I love like they're showing like again how soulless they are. They're just like, hey, we managed to save his arm. It's like, no. We said full body replacement. Get rid of that arm.
Throw that in the trash. It's useless.
And I love that the girl, like occasionally, even like the corporate world, occasionally their conscience will like dip through. And even the girl's just like, Jesus, Bob, like
come on.
Can we, let's not, we're going a little too far here.
Yeah. And then it just cuts to them partying around him.
But we're getting
just like, wee.
Yeah, the party is fun. But we also get a lot of information here. Like we know it's titanium with Kevlar on top. We know he's mostly going to be a robot.
Yeah.
We see how his eyes work and whatnot. I love the quick peek at him before his main reveal.
Yeah.
I used to love when I was a kid. Because I would always forget like when I would put this on. I'm like, oh, this is when they actually cut to him. Like, oh no, you only see him on the monitor a little bit. I'm like, that is so cool. The build up to like the actual RoboCop is really cool.
If it wasn't for the trailer that was loaded with images of RoboCop
or the poster,
it would hit even harder. But
yeah,
even when I'm watching it, I agree. I'm still just like, come on, show him.
As a kid, I didn't see a trailer or a poster for this.
Yeah.
Whenever the first time I did turn this on, I didn't know what was going on. I'm like,
I didn't either. Don't worry.
Like, okay, that guy's a robot cop. What the hell? So he shows up at the station, and we learn more about him. We know that he needs to recharge in a chair, and we find out that he does have organs.
Some, which require a minimal amount of baby food.
Yes, it's like paste. They say it's like baby food. And I think she even gets some baby food later on. And also his gun is awesome.
Oh my God, his gun is so bad.
It's like gigantic. They had to like make a gun. And I like how like the muzzle flash comes out the sides and the front, which is so cool.
I think it's like a modified like Beretta or something like that.
I think so, yeah. And I
like
like that.
I think they just attach shit to it.
Yeah, I think it's built
badass
into his leg. And I think I remember not these two toys we have on set. But I think my cousin at the time, like I guess maybe around the time of RoboCop 3, they did sell a toy where like his leg opened up and you could put the gun inside.
Oh God, that's so cool.
I like that idea because it's like, where's he gonna store the gun?
Yeah, well, in his robot legs.
In his robot leg,
he doesn't have real legs under there anymore.
And I like how all the cops are just like, it's Super Cop. Like they're listening to the gun. They're like, holy shit.
Super Cop. Meet the cop that can't be stopped.
So then he goes on his first run, his first beat.
Yeah.
I like him grabbing the keys. Apparently that took a really long time to get right.
That sucks. Well, he's got all that shit. I'm sure he can't even really see.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just like, hey, close your eyes and catch these keys as they come to your rubbery glove that you can't feel anything through. Just like that, easy.
And credit to Peter Weller for wearing the mask most of the movie.
Peter Weller's great, honestly. Like for this. Like he did amazing.
Again, it's the opposite of the Stallone Judge Dredd, where you're not supposed to see Dredd's face ever. Yeah. And he's like, make sure to show my face after my first scene. He's like, all right, well, I kind of defeats the purpose.
Carl Urban did it.
Yes. Or like older like superhero movies where they would always find an excuse to take the mask off. Like, what you call it? Like Spider-Man. They're like, we have to figure out a reason for him to take his mask off.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's one good thing about the nano machines with movies now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I need to see his face for the scene.
Real
I'm
quick.
Ant-Man. I'm scared. All right, put the mask back on so kids know I'm Ant-Man. But anyway,
I'd buy that for $1.
his first crime is a guy who's robbing a convenience store.
Yes.
Just don't fuck with me.
Yo, the moment he runs in there, he literally grabs an Iron Man comic.
Yes.
And I'm just like,
And there
is that
is
some sort of reference to a robot man?
there is, and I think the story in that comic is kind of significant to the plot,
Really?
but I forget the specifics.
Oh.
And if you want to know more,
Yeah.
you can watch RoboDoc on Screenbox.
RoboDoc. You know,
This
Where
isn't,
can I
by the
watch
way, this
that?
isn't an ad or anything. I just really like the documentary, and I really like that the directors came on my show.
yeah.
Um,
No, that's
and
awesome.
also, I
Seriously.
genuinely forget what the significance of that Iron Man issue is, and I don't have time to look it up. So go watch that documentary. But they make a point to say, like, he grabbed an Iron Man issue, and there was, like, a reason behind it.
Yeah.
So RoboCop interrupts. Now, originally,
With style.
yeah. He always has a sound effect.
And just all the bass. Just
The score by Basil Poldaris, I think is how you pronounce his name,
okay.
uses traditional strings and synthetic stuff to represent his human and cyborg robotic side clashing.
Okay.
But anyway, the kid from It, one of the kids from the original It,
Oh, wow.
was supposed to be in the scene.
Oh.
But then they realized while shooting, like, they didn't need it, so he was written out of the movie.
Darn.
And I found this out on the documentary, but like he like was bummed, but then he ended up having like a small part in RoboCop 2. I'm like, well, you got to be in it one day. You're not in like one of the coolest scenes ever. That's a bummer, but you know, you got to be in some. I forget even who he was in RoboCop 2.
Yeah.
Okay. By the way, I love the guy that just keeps saying "fuck me" the whole time. I don't know if there was a
That would be my genuine reaction the whole time. Just
I don't know if,
oh
if there was,
God, no.
if a RoboCop came in, I would not want to say "fuck me" because I don't know if he actually will take that literally. I would be like, does this guy understand?
Yeah.
What I don't think he understands how I'm phrasing it. I'm just not going to say anything. All right, the physics of how he stops him make
That
this.
no, it does. I literally wanted to bring that up. I could almost have a 20-minute discussion on just like the physics.
So the guy is running.
The camera work works for it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It's not like because sometimes the camera work has like the leading.
Yeah.
Like, it leads you into the next.
Yeah.
You wants your eyes to follow a certain way for the next frame and all that. They do that just fine.
Yeah.
The motivation behind it though
Yeah.
does not exist in the real world.
No. But yeah, so what do you call it? RoboCop backhands him, right?
Mhm.
So then he technically
He clotheslines, but
he clotheslined, so he technically should like maybe he could do like a flip and land there, but I guess he was just running so fast.
The momentum
that
of this
he
guy.
he got hit. He did a backflip, did a whole 180,
Full.
and then landed face first
And then-
into like a machine or
A
something.
freezer
A
of like ice
freezer.
freezer. Or
Whenever I
something.
watch it, I'm like, wow, he must have been running really fast.
the momentum, like
Yes,
it's
it's
there.
momentum.
It's there.
I think he only had like 5 feet to run,
He
so
had,
he had a lot of momentum.
roughly 3 steps to get enough momentum for a full sprint.
Yeah.
And then double that momentum because it's a movie and throw him through a glass door. Yeah, that's suspended belief, but given what we've seen and like the satire of the movie,
Yeah.
honestly, it works perfect.
It works pretty well.
It works great because that's what I want to see.
Yeah.
I want to see him destroy someone. I don't want him to just, oh, that guy's a little bit. No, he's a robot. Okay.
Yes. Now this next one is probably the most
next one.
famous scene in the movie.
It's got it. It has to be.
There's some unruly gentleman being handsy with a lady. RoboCop's not a fan of that
No.
or any crime, to be, I guess.
Directive
accurate.
2?
Gets out of his car. They do the cool thing with the shadow, which the one guy, like the cinematographer or whatever, like mentioned it didn't make sense. Like your shadow would get smaller, I think, the closer, but it's a cool visual.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
But yeah, the guy takes the girl hostage, and RoboCop famously shoots him in the dick.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the remake came out,
Maybe is that the connection between ED 209? Just literally just castration.
So when the RoboCop remake came out, there was a fan remake called our RoboCop remake.
Oh no.
Where it was kind of like the Shrek one that I participated in, where a bunch of different people remade scenes from the movie and stitched them together.
Yes.
The one they did for this scene.
You did that with Dragon Ball Z as well.
They did?
You did.
I did? Oh, no, that was different. That was different. That was a different thing. But there's like, what you call it? There's like Star Wars retold, Shrek retold, and then there was our RoboCop remake. The one for this, I think Fatal Farm might have done it. I'll correct it if it's wrong. Their scene became super popular because they just did this scene. The effects were amazing.
Yeah.
It looks like it's right out from the movie.
Really?
But the twist is that more rapists with more hostages keep showing up, and he keeps shooting them all in the dick. By the end, he's just shooting like 100 people in dicks. And then the last guy has like a fake dick with a boner, and he shoots it off. It's the most ridiculous.
That's amazing.
You've never seen that?
No, I have not.
So
seen
the R
that.
RoboCop remake has some really good segments. When Murphy gets killed, the people who did that segment, they did it as an interpretive dance where they're dancing to the RoboCop theme. And then whenever they shoot, they like do this with their hands. And then when he gets shot, like red fabric comes out wrong. And then right before that, when they're kicking him in the ground, whoever filmed that segment, they did it with their babies. They dressed their babies up like Clarence. They made it look like the babies are kicking each other. Some of the whitest kids you know are in it. Yeah. Sam is in it.
Oh, nice.
Our RoboCop remake was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
They got like real creative with that.
I'll have to check that out for sure.
It was a good time. It was a good time. But like, look up the dick shooting one because it's the highlight of that movie. It's so funny.
I mean, it's the highlight of this movie too.
It's the highlight
I'll
of
be
this movie
honest,
too.
like,
Famously,
you don't see it coming.
You can now get a shirt that says, "Remember when RoboCop shot that guy in the dick?"
I've seen pictures where people see Weller at like Comic-Con or whatever, and they wear that shirt, and he's just like the happiest he could be.
So then the next crime he stops is that the former mayor is upset that he lost the election. So he's got the new mayor like hostage.
Yeah.
And he's in like a terrorist thing. And he wants
a candy bar nonetheless.
Yeah. I love his demands. He's like, I want a recount. And no matter what happens, I want to win.
And I want my old job back.
And I love it. He's just like, I want a car that gets really shitty gas mileage. And I think this is when they say it's the 6,000.
Yeah, which literally just, it sucks.
Yeah.
Sucks 6,000. Like, come on.
RoboCop shows up.
Yes, he does.
Now, you probably saw the scene where he used heat vision.
Mm-hmm.
Did you think they shot it like Predator?
No, this looks like I can tell what's going on.
That's because, Tom,
yeah,
they actually didn't use a heat vision camera.
They
like dressed people up and did like the filters and so I think in that documentary they're like, you know, like we had not seen Predator. We probably would have done it that way, but instead we like manipulated it.
Yeah,
I did always
but you could tell what's going on better.
Yeah, I did because it's not like real heat vision.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, modern heat vision will probably look better than 80s heat vision.
Actually, like 100% better. And there's a perfect example of that in Sicario.
I've never seen Sicario.
You have never. All right.
I like that director.
There's a perfect example of that in a really good movie, Sicario. You really amazing movie. I love Deakins. He's the cinematographer. Yeah. It is beautiful.
Roger Deakins.
They invented like a new camera to do the night vision scenes for this movie, and it's just like
I like.
It's
what's his name? Dennis Villeneuve. Yes.
There you go.
I like most.
So talented.
I like most of his movies. Like I liked Prisoners. I liked Arrival.
Arrival was so good.
I really liked
the cinematographer for that. Oh, yeah, man,
I really like the new Dune.
Beautiful movie.
Movie I didn't like, Blade Runner 2049.
Beautiful film. I didn't really like it either, but it doesn't make it less beautiful.
I love the original.
I like the original.
Yeah, but I hear people be like, yeah, 2049 is way better. I'm like, 2049, 1, it's not that good of a movie. 2, it is not better than the original.
No, it's definitely not.
But that's a discussion for another day.
It's such a beautiful movie.
But I like that director, and that's why I feel bad I haven't seen
Yes.
Sicario. Didn't they do like a sequel?
Don't.
Never mind.
Don't do
anyway,
that.
let's get back to this.
But the first one,
Yeah.
Benicio del Toro,
Yeah.
Josh Brolin.
I hear it's really
Emily
good.
Blunt. Such a good movie.
He beats the shit out of the mayor.
Anyway, if you want to see real Heat Vision, like updated Heat Vision film scene, it's a kind of a slower burn movie, but it's really good suspense film.
I love that everyone now loves RoboCop. They find out who he is. They're like, oh my God, this guy's awesome. He's like hanging out with kids. He's like, stay out of trouble. The scene where they're in the bathroom, Bob Morton.
Yes.
Apparently, according to that documentary, this is the studio was getting upset that like they hadn't seen like a completed scene from the movie.
Okay.
Because they were filming it. So this is like the first scene that they like edited together to send to them.
Of all the scenes?
It's a
Just
good scene.
Bathrooms?
I know. It's a good suspenseful scene though.
No, it is.
So
it's
I like
a good dialogue.
I like that he goes in and they're talking shit on Dick Jones.
Oh, yeah.
And I love, like, you see, like, the two guys, Bob Morton and this other guy are talking shit, but you slowly see in the background other people. It's framed so well. You see the guy's leg in the stall, and then you see everyone else in the bathroom slowly start to, like, whisper to each other and all rush out. And then that's
there's
when
a cutaway of them all just, like, barely getting out of the bathroom.
And then Dick Jones gets out of the stall. And I love that, like, the one guy doesn't finish peeing. He zips up his pants and there's this huge stain. He's like, I have a meeting. And he just runs out of the bathroom.
No one asked you.
Yeah.
What? Why did you feel the need to say that? I appreciate him saying that, but, like, why?
They confront each other. Apparently, Miguel really didn't want his hair being pulled, and the actor just did it. When he grabs him by the hair.
Oh, okay.
I do love this. He's like, I used to say things about the boss. At one time, I even called him asshole or something like that.
Just very specific. I called him an asshole. It's like,
but I like his complaint. He's like, I had a defense like contract for ED 209. We had a renewal program for parts. And then he goes, who cares if it worked or not? Like, so he was going to put out a shitty product, which again, corporations love to do. Let's put out a shitty product. Who gives a shit if it actually works?
Like, and it's just, I know exactly what well, that's when you officially knew that he's very much a bad guy. Like, he was a bad guy before, but the fact that he is literally going to put out a faulty product that kills people, like, just willy-nilly.
Bob Morton, he's just like, Bob Morton's like standing up to him. He's basically like, your time's done, guy. I'm the new dude. And also Bob mentioned that he's going to hang out with two models in this scene.
He does. Which he does.
He does.
Yes.
RoboCop has a dream about his death when he's recharging in the chair.
Yes.
Which is cool because they said they were gonna wipe his memory, but I guess like it still was in there.
I mean, but we don't know what future holds for memory erasing in regards to After Effects and efficiency. So there's wiggle room if something. Yeah,
because they actually,
happen.
I think they do. He mentions later on that like he remembers having a wife, like he knows he had a wife and kid, but he doesn't really remember them too well.
I think something along those
lines. He doesn't have it all together.
He feels them, but he doesn't remember them. I think he says.
Yeah, but here he like gets visions of his death, and he's just like, okay, something's up here, and he gets out of the chair and just leaves on his own.
Yeah,
which he's not supposed to do. And I do like Lewis interacts with him, and she saw him twirl the gun earlier, and that's how she kind of connected the dots. And she basically is like, Murphy. She gives him his name back. Yeah, and he's just like, sorry, officer, I gotta leave.
Awkward.
And I do love them yelling at her. Like, what did you say to him?
What did you don't talk to him. What?
And then we get to see Emil again, who hates college boys.
You a college boy or something? Huh?
RoboCop confronts him, and this confrontation leads to an explosion.
Oh,
now I was a little confused here, Tom.
What?
Because I know RoboCop was there.
Yes.
But then the explosion goes off, and I maybe I missed something. There seems to be a second RoboCop who's like 50 pounds heavier with a way fatter face whenever there's fire around. Did I miss something? Were there two RoboCops?
I think it's just supposed to be the one, Tony. To be honest.
Huh. So the funny thing I learned about this from the documentary is that they really wanted the Shell station to say hell when it got blown up. But like during the scene, like the one shot where you actually see the words, there's like a light post in the way. So they never actually got the shot of it saying hell when it was on fire. But awesome explosion.
Oh, so badass.
Huge explosion.
That's like some Michael Bay explosion, but like in
and then
not insulting way.
Emil remembers him because he's starting to like say, so it started with the twirl, then the dream, then the name. But now he says, dead or alive, you're coming with me. And he goes, wait a minute. I know, we killed you. So yeah.
That triggers him even further, yeah.
Yeah. Who are you? I love the way he says that. Who are you?
And he just like lets him go. It was a little bit weird, but it's because he's trying to process, you know what I mean? Yeah. But for me, I'm just like, he's right there.
So he brings him in and he goes to the tech department, I guess, for the police. How does he access their database, Tom? What does he use to access their database?
He has this it's kind of tough to describe. It's like a spike that comes out of
like a 12-inch spike shoots out of his wrist.
It's a good Wolverine claw length spike, roughly sticking out of his middle finger, essentially.
Yeah, and then he shoves it into the computer, and he's able to access the database. But it's like, I'm like, what? So what? We never see anyone else with like a USB stick with a 12-inch spike plugging it in. Like, what is that? Who else uses that spike?
Yeah, what's that port for? If anything else than a giant spike that is not attached to any humans or anyone, no one's carrying around that spike in their pocket so they can access that computer or any other TV or any like. Well,
here's a question: they don't just have like all this information in his brain? Can his brain not hold that much? I mean, it was 1987.
It's the 80s. Like, he probably has about 5 megabytes.
He's like, I can hold 5 megabytes on this baby. It's like, oh, cool.
Oh, wait, yeah, 5. That's a big deal. I realized I actually said a high number.
But yeah, he uses a giant spike. Comes back later. A lot of setup and payoff. I do like how his knuckles just kind of like completely.
It's really just like a middle finger.
Yeah,
too, because the one dude's like, "What are you doing? What are you doing?"
It doubles as a middle finger to the nerdy tech guy. He's like,
I just flipped off the camera. Hope that's okay.
That's fine. Yeah, so he accesses the files. He gets all of the wrecking crew's information, and he's going to start looking for them.
As would I.
Yeah, but he finds out that they killed Murphy. And he knows now that's his name. He ends up going to his old house. And this scene's like really sad.
That's one of the childhood memory scenes where it's like, I remember that scene.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but that's the scene.
Because he's going into his house, which is now for sale because they moved out, I guess.
Yeah, and it has that really annoying robot.
Welcome to this new house.
Yeah.
But I like that they I guess I know the family comes back in the second one. Again, it's been a minute since I've seen it.
Yeah.
Because I think RoboCop's like stalking his ex-wife, and she's like, "Can you tell him not to do that?" Because she like doesn't feel like Murphy to her. But you can see like kind of what the family kind of went through because there's like a big fire pit and like the picture of them is burnt.
Yeah.
So they were probably like sad and like burn everything. And like, we're leaving. But yeah, we're seeing like his son being like, "Can you do that, Dad?" with the gun.
And then like there's a Halloween flashback photo.
And then like the wife being
with a
like
selfie stick, and it's like, oh my god, they
invented selfie sticks.
They invented it.
They have the wife coming in and be like, "I really need to tell you something. I love you." So he's like, and all these emotions are like too much for him. He ends up punching the monitor with the guy on it.
I don't blame him.
Yeah, he's like, oh, now he's even angrier. He's angry.
I mean, I feel like that goes against the directive, but I don't know. It goes against one of them at least. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
I don't think that's upholding the law. Yeah, that's what I thought.
His directives. Well, yeah. Yeah, I guess
if the directives are as important as they are later.
He arrests himself.
I'm just saying. That's destruction of property. Sir, I'm holding you accountable.
So yeah, I like when he confronts Nash at the club.
That is
I like when he confronts him. My favorite bit is like when he knocks the gun out of his hand and some guy dancing grabs the gun and then just keeps dancing with the gun.
Yeah.
Did you see John Wick 4?
I did not.
I'm not spoiling too much. There is a club fight.
Okay. They did that in 2.
Yeah, no, but for this one, the fight goes on for a really long time before the dancers finally decide to leave.
Wait, no, I think I did see
where he fights
some of
the big fat guy.
Maybe I didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it goes on for a while. I remember being like, wait, they still haven't left with all the gunfighting?
Well, that's just the second movie, though, when like there's literally like hundreds of people and like they're actively looking at him, shooting people, and they're just like, yeah, oh no, that's a guy with a gun. I'm on enough drugs to not care.
So yeah, he gets Nash.
Maybe that's the same situation. That character's probably just on enough drugs to just not care.
Maybe.
He's just like, yeah, listen, perfect accessory for this dance move.
So he arrests 2 of them now.
Yes.
Meanwhile, Bob's got a date with some models, and they're doing coke.
Yes.
It's in the movie, I guess it's the future, but this was shot in the 80s.
Dystopian 80s.
They're like being all flirty with him and whatnot, and then Clarence shows up, does one of the most famous lines.
Bitches leave.
The delivery of it is
Bitches leave.
fantastic.
And I love how the one's like, are you going to call me?
Really?
It's like, lady, not now. Not now. But yeah, Clarence uses the first DVD. He puts the CD into the thing. By the way, I love that he just has a wall, like a media wall of 3 separate monitors. And then he has a pillar in his house with 2 more tube monitors.
Yeah, I'm sure they have that weird cylindrical spike somewhere down there so that other people can access this media, you know.
But
if it's as universal as it's implied.
Yeah, he shoots Bob in the shins, in the legs.
Why is this movie about shins? Like they just go for the shins. It's great. I love it.
This
no
movie,
one goes for the shins.
This movie loves
it's
multiple
such a dick
things.
Move.
It loves shin
it's
shooting.
people in the dick. Yeah, I love it.
It likes shin shooting, railing kills, and glass. A lot of glass gets broken in this, even in the scene. But yeah, they play the thing where Dick Jones is like, "You screwed me over." I'm like, "You're done, buddy." And I like Clarence with his tongue pulling the grenade out. Like, that's so cool. Yeah, and then Bob dies.
Yeah,
it's a bummer.
I actually didn't see that coming.
I mean, I've seen it coming just because I've seen the movie a trillion times.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it's weird they didn't keep that character around. I mean, it makes sense. They shouldn't have, but he was so like charismatic. You'd think you'd want to keep him around.
Almost slightly a good guy. So wait, no, never mind.
He wasn't as bad as the bad guy.
Okay, you're right. He is the least bad guy in the movie.
Exactly.
He is the
RoboCop goes to the drug factory where Clarence is having a bad business negotiation with a guy. But yeah, he goes to the factory, and for some reason, they're all just shooting RoboCop. It's like, just leave. You clearly, like, 50 people just shot him, and he's still walking. I would just leave. I'm like, all right, I'm done. Goodbye.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is where he's shooting people, and I think they're falling over railings and whatnot, and all the cocaine is getting everywhere. But yeah, RoboCop just fucking lights everyone up.
Yeah.
And then he beats the shit out of Clarence. He like wrecks Clarence's face.
It's so good.
And Clarence just rats Dick Jones out. He's like, I work for Dick Jones. Yeah. Come on, buddy.
Like, where's your loyalty? You're supposed to be like somewhat of like a kingpin of the entire city, and you
should know better.
Bend over that quickly.
Yeah,
I understand it's like for the plot of the movie to move things forward, but like
because RoboCop needs to know who the bad guy is.
But as his character, I honestly don't think he would be giving it up that easily.
And Clarence is really bad because he used an Italian slur.
What did he say?
I'm not gonna repeat it.
Oh.
But he was yelling at the other crime boss. He used an Italian slur. So I remember being like, you know what? This Clarence deserves to die right now.
Spicy meatball bitch. Like what?
Yeah,
what
he called him a spicy meatball bitch.
I don't know what he said.
No, he said something way more offensive. Don't worry.
Oh, okay. I honestly forget. I don't see words like that.
But yeah, I like how he reminds RoboCop. He's like, you're a cop. He's like, oh shit, you're right. I can't just murder you.
One of those directives again.
He brings him in. He's a cop killer. I do love Clarence just spitting blood on the paper. It's like, give me.
Everyone's just like, come on,
give me.
Like I just wrote that
phone call.
Like,
so yeah, RoboCop goes to confront Dick Jones, and here you'd be like, oh, it's the end of the movie.
Yeah.
but it's not.
No, this is where the first big fight
Yes.
happens.
So RoboCop's like, all right, it's time for me to take you in. You're a criminal, but he finds out that Directive 4 makes it
Directive
impossible for him to arrest any high ranking member of OCP, which I think is illegal, but whatever.
Yeah, and any basically high-ranking employee.
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, it's my own personal touch. I wouldn't let you be able to take one of us in. And it melts him down. He's like, it gives him pain. And then he's like, all right, let me introduce you to my good friend. And Ed 209 comes back, which you really wanted to cut. Whenever you watch these movies and you realize there's 2 robots, you're like, well, they got to fight at some point.
They have to.
They better fight.
Required.
Yeah, they should. Awesome fight.
It is actually really bad.
It's a really good fight.
Because you'd think it's okay, this thing's huge. It's going to overpower him. But the fact that RoboCop is part human, he has those advantages. He can actually strategize. He's quicker, smaller.
He is beating the shit out of RoboCop. RoboCop's head cracks. He's able to shoot off one of the arms.
Yeah, it's about to shoot him in the face. About to finish him, and he moves the arm over and it blows up the other arm. So now he's only got one arm.
Yeah,
it's just they are going at it hard.
And then we find out his weakness.
His one weakness, Tony. What could possibly be this 2-legged, weirdly balanced robot's one weakness?
Stairs.
I knew it.
It squeals like a pig and cries like a baby when it falls down, which I always enjoy that. It's I'm like, who programmed it to cry when it got hurt?
But why a pig noise? Is there did they put a speaker on it so that it could emote verbally aside from talking? But
by the way,
it doesn't need to have emotional noises. When you give it a massage, does it groan? What the fuck?
I before it goes down the stairs, it's kind of like a dog, who's
testing.
When a puppy is too afraid, it's putting its foot down,
testing the water first.
Okay, I'm gonna try.
This feels like I think I can. I'm pretty sure I can. You know what? I've got enough confidence now to.
Oh my god! He fell down the stairs
he's just done. RoboCop looks at him just bitch, please, I can use stairs all day.
I don't know if I told the story on the show.
Oh no!
This is probably going to give you a heart attack because you have a baby.
Oh jeez.
Well, my sister was younger. She was in her walker, and my dad, my grandfather, and me. I guess we weren't paying close attention.
Yes.
And she heard my mom open the door downstairs of our old house. And she's like, oh, I want to go talk to my mom. My sister in her walker walked over the stairs and tumbled down the stairs. My mom apparently turned the corner and just saw a baby go.
What a way to end
that. I mean, she was fine. It was,
I know.
It was horrifying in the moment.
So resilient.
It was horrifying in the moment.
You walk in the door and just a baby falls in front of you. That's nightmare fuel for a parent. It's just what? If there's anything else you'd rather walk into, it's someone at gunpoint because you can still solve that problem.
For me, whenever I watch this scene of Ed 209 falling down, I remember my little sister just
That's so.
Why wasn't there a gate on those stairs? I don't know. Looking back, there should have been a gate on those stairs. But anyway,
really, how did they get Ed 209 even up there? Has he lived on that floor?
Yeah, my sister's so worried about the twins falling down the little 3 steps to their door. I keep wanting to be like, well, Nicole, you turned out all right. You collapsed. Anyway,
so Ed 209 loses that fight.
Loses the fight, but RoboCop goes out and the whole police force is there.
Yeah.
And I like that some of them decide not to go through with it. They're like, no, this is one of us. They're like, oh, fuck this. They leave. Yeah. But everyone else is time to shoot him now.
The other 80% of them.
Yeah, they just load him up with bullets. He is like Deadsville almost.
It's very Predator reminiscent when they're just firing, just they don't even care. It's literally at will, just firing.
And then Lewis saves him.
Yes,
she's able to save him and get him out of there.
And get him some baby food, which he doesn't like.
And then a dinosaur. The 6000 SUX commercial. Do you know who did this commercial? The Chiodo brothers. They actually even acted it. They are the ones who ended up doing Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
What?
Yeah, they did the
That's
whole stop
awesome.
motion T-Rex of the thing, and I think they're the guys who were pointing.
That's
I
really
remember
cool.
I remember when I was a kid, I would always forget about the dinosaur scene because it comes after like a very super
it's
emotional
very,
moment.
very
Just
random.
a random dinosaur like, ah.
Like, what am I watching? Oh, it's another one of those commercials inside the movie. I got it.
Yeah, 6,000 SUX. Like, this RoboCop story is very important to us. And then this news story talks about the most horrifying thing. They're like, oh, the peacekeeping satellite accidentally fired a laser that destroyed most of Santa Barbara. It killed thousands of people, including 2 former presidents.
And they say it so casually, like, oh yeah, no, I just killed 2 former presidents. Like, oopsie, this little space laser.
Yeah, they do that. And they're like,
I wouldn't be surprised if OCP was involved.
yeah, they were
honestly.
like, yeah, it's very, very tragic. They're like, also RoboCop's on the list.
Yeah, in other news.
But then we meet my favorite character,
Yeah.
Kiva Rosenberg, unemployed person.
Unemployed. Hey, man.
When they're asking him how he feels about the strike, he's like, no, man, it's like a free country, except it ain't free.
It's not free.
You know what I
Nothing's
mean?
really free.
I love that guy. I just love the picture of unemployed person.
Uh-huh.
If I'm ever on the news.
Like, that's how he was described. Like, when they went up to him for that interview, they're like, what do you do? I'm unemployed. Oh, great. All right, let's roll with this. Okay,
Yeah.
question.
Because the other guy was like, the other guy actually had like a thing, like store owner or something.
Yeah,
and it's like
it's just
Kiva
like,
Rosenberg,
they're-
unemployed person.
It's strict. They're only worth what their occupation is, which just furthers like this whole
Again,
plot. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna, if I ever get interviewed by the news, they'll be like, how should we label you? I'm like, oh, unemployed person. I'll just say video store owner.
Same thing. Same thing.
I was around a bunch of people recently that I could just tell don't give a shit about podcasts.
Yeah.
And they were like, what do you do? And I'm just like, business factory. My 2 go-tos.
I shoot mayonnaise commercials.
Yeah, if I'm around people I know who will not or not pod or like at least for this podcast, I say Business Factory, which I thought was one joke, but I think it's a BoJack Horseman joke. I thought I got it from something else.
Oh. Yeah.
And then the other one is plumber. Just like I'm a plumber, work on pipes. And then I hope they don't like have specific follow-up questions because I don't know anything about plumbing. Just like
I just say I'm a photographer because there's so many photographers. No one gives a shit if you're a photographer. Even though I'm actually a videographer. Remember that? Cinematographer, videographer, right here. Not a photographer.
I mean, the plug part's at the end, but if you just want to throw it in the middle, do it now.
You know what would be a great documentary to watch right now?
What?
Super Doc.
RoboDoc, you mean?
RoboDoc, that's the one.
I meant, do you want to plug your thing now?
No,
You brought it up.
that's okay.
We'll do it at the end. So yeah, the police are on strike.
Yes.
Like, what you call it?
Yeah, the police are on strike. So right after they just go to town on RoboCop, they're like, all right.
Yeah, we're done.
Let's take a break.
Yeah. Dick and Clarence have a little bit of a meeting.
Yeah.
And they're like hot. They're like pretty mean to each other at first, but then he's like, hey, look, let's start over.
Yeah.
Delta City's coming. We're going to have a bunch of people, bunch of workers, a lot of new people
that are going to need.
And they're gonna need drugs and all this.
Prostitution.
And it's like, I'll be in charge of the legitimate corporate world if you can run the whole crime world. Because he's like trying to he wants them to make crime to justify making Ed 209s and shit.
Yeah, well, just so that he can get the military contracts, that he can get all the money, so that he can get all the money. That's it.
Speaking of military. By the way, I love that Clarence is wearing, this is the first time we see him in a nice suit, but his face is all fucked. Look what he did to my face, dick.
He finally calls up Richard at the end of that conversation.
Richard.
Richard.
I love when he goes, I'm going to need military grade weapons. He's like, you have any of those? He's like, we are the military.
Pretty much the military. Come on. Excuse me while I go vomit some more money. That's better. It just comes out of me.
Lewis grabs him his supplies. He gives him like the baby food and whatnot.
Yeah.
And the drill to take off his helmet.
Yes.
And then I pointed this out to you last time we watched it. It was like a funny thing I didn't notice until years and years and years later. I think someone on X. Someone on X pointed it out. But when he takes off his helmet, his chin strap disappears.
Oh no!
Remember, I pointed it out to you. Yeah, the black chin strap. Because they show him undrilling the helmet, taking the helmet off, but when it cuts back to his face, the chin strap's gone. They never show him physically
Because they
removing.
didn't want to. Yeah,
I guess it would just be weird.
Well, they didn't have bolts to take off. Like it would just.
It'd be one thing if like it came off with the helmet, but it doesn't come off with the helmet. It just disappears. No. And then you see like all like the servos and stuff in a second. You realize his face is just stretched over this.
Mm-hmm.
Did I mention it I mentioned it off camera. But the idea, did I mention this in the review, that his brain is supposed to be in his torso?
Mm-mm.
Apparently the idea is his brain is actually like in like his chest, and that's why his chest moves first before his head.
Why wouldn't they just put his brain where his brain already was?
They wanted it more armored.
This feels pretty...
Nah, this could be detached a little too easily.
His head.
So your brain is in your head because you have all these organs.
Yeah,
but
this, he doesn't have the
can build around where those organs... Yeah, it's like a whole thing. I don't know if that's...
So is RoboCop really just like a spine and a head?
I think he is just like a spine and some organs and then the flesh.
Like what organs though?
They're not clear.
Because they're not needed.
Some of them are, I guess. Yeah, why do they even have...
Well, he needs a little bit of food paste or whatever.
I think they did
power
want his
the organic
brain.
parts.
I do think they wanted his brain because they didn't want it to be 100%.
Yeah, but they didn't want his brain where it belonged. So like, I don't know what they expect from.
I don't know, but I do
cyborg.
like that his flesh is just like being hung up.
Yeah,
over
the
this.
effects are really good on. Like,
yeah,
it is very believable.
Well, again, Rob Bottin, the Thing and whatnot.
Oh,
fucking nailed it.
So good.
But yeah, this
doesn't look like too. It doesn't look like too big. You know what I mean? Because they're trying to stuff it like it.
Yeah.
It genuinely looks really good.
And then he's sad because he mentions how he doesn't really know his family. And then he's like, leave me now. He just sits alone. And then the next day, he's just practicing shooting.
Yeah.
But yeah, then we cut back to the wrecking crew. They're all out of jail now because there's just no police. And everyone's just trashing that town.
Yeah, everyone's literally doing whatever they want. And just like, oh, I'm bored. What do you want to do?
What's his face gets a nice 6,000 SUX?
Yeah, laughing guy. He gets the SUX.
He doesn't get to have it for long because Clarence tests out their new guns on the SUX.
Which is just like a Barrett 50 cal with some more styrofoam attached.
Which, if you played Mortal Kombat 11 as RoboCop, that's one of the weapons he pulls out.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. That's pretty badass.
Mortal Kombat 1 is good, too. The new one? Yeah, I've been having fun with it.
I haven't.
Mortal Kombat 11 was fun, also. If you never played it, go back and play it, I guess. It's fun.
I'm more of an FPS sometimes, or like the action adventure role play.
I just want to try a fighting game. They're pretty good.
All right. The point is, I'm bad at fighting games. All right,
Peter Weller came back to do the voice.
In for the game, that's cool.
Yes, but for some reason, Arnold didn't voice the Terminator in Mortal Kombat 11.
I could do Arnold. Anyone can do his voice. It's
which is weird, because I think Stallone did Rambo's voice in Mortal Kombat 11.
That must have been expensive.
And then they got the actors from the Mortal Kombat movie to do their characters.
Really?
Yeah, if you pick the...
Johnny Cage? Or
was it Johnny Cage? Yeah, I know Christopher Lambert comes back as Raiden. If you select the Raiden skin from the movie, it's Christopher Lambert. If you do Sonya, it's Bridget Wilson.
Oh.
Only play as her because Ronda Rousey sucked as Sonya Blade. And I like Emil's reaction. I like it!
Ooh, can I have it? Can I have it? And they just go around and start shooting, blowing stuff up, just cackling about it.
And then they find out he's in the old steel factory.
Like, because they got the tracker.
They got the tracker, and it's like, let's go.
Dick
Jones.
Dick.
So they go to the steel factory. It's a big shootout. Laughing guy gets it first.
Yeah.
Rest in peace, Laughing Guy.
Really should have figured out his name before this review was done, but Laughing Guy. Everyone's gonna know him best as that. Like, to be honest, no one's gonna be like, "Oh, you mean?" No, they're gonna say the Laughing Guy.
But yeah, RoboCop is like, I like how RoboCop throws the thing to throw them off, and he's like, "Looking for me?"
I threw that shit before I walked in the room.
Wait, I get like, why didn't he put his helmet back on? He fixed his vision. Why didn't he put his helmet back on?
Well, he probably didn't have the materials or whatever to fix the crack.
I guess so.
Maybe.
But yeah, so there's like a big shootout. They're stalking each other. Poor Emil. Emil accidentally drives into the toxic waste container.
which gives us, in my opinion, one of the best effects, like
Yeah.
best of the best makeup effect in like the whole movie.
This used to really terrify me. His screams used to make me really uncomfortable.
His fingers just like, oh, it's so good. His fingers are falling off. It looks
I feel
like,
just so
basically
bad
it's
for
like the bones are the only thing that exists. Not that you see the bones, but
Yeah.
like that's all of his flesh is melting off of the bones, just shy
And then,
of
like,
the
he
bones.
tries to go to Nash, and Nash is like, "Get away from me, man!"
It's just like, yeah, I don't blame Twin
Yeah.
Peaks. Honestly, I would have been like, get off.
Yeah. Then there's like a bit of a car chase, and Clarence just runs right into Toxic Waste.
Through him,
Through
not
him, and
in
then-
him.
Because
like,
the Toxic Waste
through
has
it.
made him into like paste, but I
Just-
like the head rolls on the fucking.
That's the only thing that like still stays a little bit. The rest of it, just when he hits it, is just goo.
Yeah, one of my
Like,
favorite
instant goo.
parts of the chase is when the one car hits a bump and the hubcap falls off, and they give it a little sound effect. That always cracked me up.
I wanted to like check the wheels to see if the hubcap came back later, but because I'm neurotic like that.
But yeah, Lewis crashes.
Mm-hmm.
Then she's like incapacitated.
Yeah. Well, she gets
shot. Yeah, she gets shot too. Clarence survives the car crash.
Uh-huh.
RoboCop is just like, "I'm taking you in." He's like, "You gonna arrest me?" He's like, "I'm not arresting you anymore."
Nah.
And I like that Nash like just drops all the steel beams on him.
Yeah, that effect is actually pretty good. I
Yeah.
know that's like a model or like a stop motion when they do the cutaway. And like my point is it's really good.
I think it's a dummy that they drop the stuff
like
on.
it looks really good.
Yeah,
Whatever
it
they
looks
do,
really
like
good.
it's just fast enough of a cut where
Yeah.
I'm not sitting there analyzing it. It looked. They pulled that shot off really well.
And I really like, as they're celebrating, Lewis just grabs the gun and blows up Nash. Clarence goes
gone.
to kill. Yeah, Clarence
and he's
goes
like celebrating. Hey, look what I did! Look, I did a good job. Yeah.
Dick should have given Clarence a little bit more information.
Yeah.
Like, hey, by the way, if you get like in close quarters with him, he's got a giant spike in his arm. Just a heads up. Clarence didn't know about that. So he was like killing RoboCop. I like the sayonara RoboCop. And then boom, spike, neck. And the blood just shoots out of RoboCop's chest.
It's like a diarrhea, just like explosion of blood. It's not just like a little, like, oh, you got to split. It's just like someone popped a balloon of blood.
Yeah.
And it's just like fell on him.
Because it's Paul Verhoeven doesn't stop there. It cuts to him just blood is just shooting out of his neck.
It's almost Tarantino-esque. Like, yeah, just the blood.
It almost reminds me of
good.
the first Addams Family movie when the kids they have the blood spray during their play.
Yes.
It reminds me of that.
So
But yeah,
good.
he's just like it's shooting everywhere.
But it's you feel good though.
Yeah.
Like you're just like,
It's a very satisfying death. It's a very satisfying death. Just
yeah, that death is satisfying.
And then you feel bad for Lewis, but she said she'll get better. I think there was a deleted ending where he visits her in the hospital.
Oh, okay.
But like, I get why you would want that in like during the script.
For us as a viewer.
Yeah, to
but,
know
like,
that she survived.
But for RoboCop as a character, he doesn't care.
I know he cares. He cares about her. But
As a friend.
considering the ending we're getting to, it ends on such a good note. Like to slow it down and have him go to a hospital kind of would have killed it.
Yeah.
He goes to the office and there's an Ed 209 outside. But don't worry, RoboCop brought that giant gun to blow it up.
did.
And I love the legs walking in, and you think
Because it's just off frame. You're like,
Yeah.
oh, he's gonna.
Oh, is there a segment? And it's just the legs, and it just falls over.
Falls over, and a little twitch at the end. Like
Yeah.
that just ties it together.
So yeah, he goes into the office. He's like, "Hey, Dick Jones is a murderer. He killed Bob Morton."
He uses what does he use to show
He
them?
uses his spike, which is still covered in Clarence's blood.
That wouldn't even like mess up the system. Like, and of course it's right under the TVs. There's
Yeah.
that perfect port just for that.
He should be like, before I do this, does anyone have like a Lysol wipe?
Can someone
Can someone-
wipe my appendage?
Can someone clean my spike? I didn't have any wipes. I need a Lysol wipe.
I don't want to.
But yeah, it goes in there and it's him saying, "I killed Bob Morton."
Mm-hmm.
And of course, Dick is like, "Okay, well, I'm going to take the old man hostage. I want a chopper and whatever." And I like RoboCop lets him know. He's like, hey, I can't do anything because he's an employee. And the old man is just like, hey, Dick, you're fired.
And then Directive 4 just like erases off of his visor. And it's just like,
he just shoots Dick Jones out of the window and then his arms grow. So apparently, if I remember right, like the model that they use, I think it was like whatever lens they were using, it kind of like warped the
Well, I'm
arms.
sure like if they were using like a fisheye kind of a thing, like it would. And the closer to the lens, the more it would like expand.
From what I know, like the model did not have giant arms, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah,
but I remember
it
like
accentuates it just
for years. I'm just
that.
like, why are his arms? That's a stop motion that doesn't hold up.
No.
Whereas the Ed 209s are great, but this guy at the end, like,
that is the worst effect in the movie, in my opinion.
I don't know. If I saw that in theaters, I'd be like, yeah, maybe we could go with him just going out the window, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty implied. They're at the top of a building.
Thank God this came out before Die Hard. So Hans Gruber's death was also not, Yeah.
They did that correct, thankfully. But they like dropped him as a
They
real
actually
person,
dropped him on a blue screen.
And they were just like, hey, listen, we're totally, poop, bye.
Yeah,
just
that
like,
was a good one. That's why, if you don't know, that's why he looks so terrified in Die Hard.
Because he is in real life terrified.
By the way, on this channel, we did Die Hard 2 and Die Hard with a Vengeance. Go check those out.
Die Hard with a Vengeance.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Sam Jackson. That's the good one.
What are we thinking? I'm thinking we saw another one with Michael Jai White. No. Jai Courtney. There you go.
Jai Courtney.
Two totally different
I didn't
actors.
see that one with you.
I thought we saw that one.
We saw two Jai Courtney movies together.
Okay.
I, Frankenstein and Terminator Genesis. We did not see Good Day to Die Hard together. I can see how you can be confused because apparently we were just big Jai Courtney fans.
Huge Jai Courtney fans at that time.
I don't mind
Let's just watch Jurassic Park 3,
I
know?
don't mind Jai Courtney now. But they were really shoving him down our throats for a couple of years. Anyway, I love at the very end where the old man goes, what's your name? And he's like, Murphy. It's like, that's him being like, I finally have my humanity back. And then the theme song goes up.
Credit roll.
Again, if they would have sucked the energy out if they like cut to her in the hospital. So it's just boom. And like this movie, it's a movie I'll never get tired of. It's very fast paced. There's really no boring scenes. Everything is entertaining.
Yeah, they jump right into everything.
Even as a kid, when I didn't really understand satire, I could tell by like the way that they were talking and not taking things serious. Like it made me realize like this is not how you would act, but I'm liking this.
Well, when you stop the movie to show a dinosaur for a car commercial, it's not
just a fun fact. If you think your movie is if you need to break up an act in your movie, just cut to a dinosaur, claymation dinosaur.
You don't need to do cuts or transitions.
No,
just
I know
add
a movie.
scenes.
I know a movie that's almost fully claymation dinosaur.
Oh man, that's a movie, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I just held up a copy of Thugs versus Dinosaurs, by the way. But yes, RoboCop. Great movie. RoboCop 2, pretty good sequel. Not the best.
It's not RoboCop 1, though.
It's not RoboCop 1, but it has its own good moments and own good gags. RoboCop 3.
I can't really speak for it.
You know, maybe I'll rewatch it. Maybe, Tom, we'll come back and do worst RoboCop movie.
Ooh, that's not a terrible idea.
Yeah. You know, then they did...
Because then you're going to make me watch RoboCop 3, aren't you?
Yes. And now, you might be aware that there was a live-action TV show. Don't worry. I'm not going to make you watch the live-action TV show.
Please don't.
I might make you watch the live-action mini-series that they did. Prime Directives, I think it was called. I think there might be 2 of those.
What?
Yeah, they did like 2 like mini series that are like mini movies.
Like kind of like the Shining mini movies?
No, it's just 2 movies about it. It's unrelated to the other live action RoboCop show, which I would actually like to go back. It's not good, but I would like to go back and like watch like how did they water this down for television? Because obviously there was a RoboCop cartoon. All the violent movies were getting watered down cartoons. Yeah. But you figure with like a live action movie, a live action show, you could be a little cooler, but yeah, so I want to see that. And then finally, RoboCop 2014. A movie.
That's on my list.
A movie I swore I would never watch again.
Oh.
that I don't want to watch again, but if we do worst RoboCop movie, I will watch again. I will not be happy about it.
Okay. That's fine.
I'll be fucking miserable. I really hate that movie.
That's on my list, so I can't.
It's just so bad.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it from us. Depending when this comes out, maybe I've been live streaming the game. You know, you should just go to twitch.tv/actthemovies and just see if I've been live streaming it.
You really should. I advise it.
Yes. And of course, when I do live stream stuff, I upload those streams to the Hack the Movies Clips channel.
Okay.
In case you miss it live. Yeah, we love RoboCop.
I love RoboCop.
Does this thing still talk?
RoboCop.
Serve the public trust, protect the innocent, uphold the law.
I haven't changed these batteries since 2006. They just still work.
That's
Dead or
amazing.
alive, you are coming with me.
I think
That's good. He just plays the music?
Come quietly or there will be trouble.
and then
Clarence Monitor, you are under arrest.
Oh, damn.
Thank you for your cooperation. Good night.
Wait, was there just someone like screaming in the background?
The public trust, protect the innocent.
because they got it from the movie, they didn't
Okay, yeah,
isolate
there was
the
like
sound.
an extra in the back. Like that's
I love this figure, but it's been falling apart for years. The legs keep falling apart, the arms fall because it's fallen a couple times. I should have just kept it in the box, but I was an idiot. It still looks great though.
it is pretty cool.
When the legs aren't falling off and it's just sat up on a thing, it looks awesome. Looks a lot like him.
No, it looks really good. I agree.
Dead or alive, you are coming with me.
All right, let me turn this off. Ugh. Tom, where can we find you?
You can find me at crithitpro.com. That is Critical Hit Productions LLC. It's my video cinematography.
Do you mean I can hire you to do video stuff?
Yes, you can, just like other people have. I actually shot some episodes of AVGN.
Ooh,
Yeah, go figure. I get around.
I think I worked on a few of those episodes.
You know what? I think you did.
So you're saying that if I live in like the tri-state area,
Yeah.
I can hire critical hit pros to film something?
Yeah, no, we definitely would love to do promotional work for your YouTube
Ooh.
channel. I'm very versed in the YouTube space.
I vouch for Tom.
There we go.
I support him in everything.
I like that.
I realize you've said critical hit pro before, but we never really explained what that was. So
Yeah,
I'm
no,
like,
it's
we should
just like-
probably mention what it is.
Yeah, no, it's
People
just-
might want to hire you.
Yeah, it's a production company, you know. It's
Yeah.
a little bit of kind of a nerdy feel to some normal production
Yeah.
stuff.
Tom's great. Been working with Tom for years.
Yeah, I
Hire
mean, who else would have been able to pull off Mummy Cop? You're welcome.
Well, the guy who shot the first season didn't want to come back, so
I don't know why.
I don't know why.
Honestly, it was such a delight. Season 2.
Season 2 was great. I wish there was more.
Quality.
If you want to see
Quality
my
people.
Super Cop show, go back and watch Mummy Cop the series. Tom was very involved in the second season.
Mm-hmm.
He helped shoot it.
I even have a few characters.
You either have multiple characters or one character who goes through multiple career changes. We haven't really decided which one's which.
You know what? Let's just leave that up to the audience. You know, that's not one of those things that like you're supposed to answer. If you even catch on, it's good already.
But yeah, RoboCop opens up with like news segments in season 2, and then I had like the news articles in season 1. I think like our Christmas episode, we cut to fake commercials. It's a lot of fun. Like and Mummy Cop also has like people are taking it seriously, but they're kind of saying ridiculous shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, and again, RoboCop very much inspired Mummy Cop, along with the movie Mitchell with Joe Don Baker. Don't worry about it. That is it from us. Thank you. Please like, share, subscribe. Check us out on Patreon. Buy our commentary tracks. I put them up on Bandcamp. The ones from previous years go up on Bandcamp, but they are also Patreon exclusives too. Before that.
Okay.
Yes, do that. I love you. Goodbye.
Thank you so much for having me on Hack the Movies today, Tony.
You know, other people don't thank me as much.
Oh. Should I take that back?
No, Johanna, Crystal,
okay.
they haven't thanked me in forever.
Maybe it's a thankless job.
Goodbye.
Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Check out our other videos and Patreon page.
Talking about tapes.